Have you ever opened your phone bill in Canada and thought, wait, how is this almost $100 a month? Because here's the thing most Canadians don't realize. Despite CRTC regulations, in 2025, multiple international telecom studies showed that Canadians pay some of the highest wireless prices in the developed world. Reports from organizations like Real Research and the OECD consistently rank Canada near the top for mobile data costs. In some cases, Canadians pay 2 to 4 times more than people in Europe for similar plans. And yet, somehow, the big 3 telecom companies keep telling us prices are competitive. So, what's actually going on behind the scenes? Today, we're going to walk through telecom secrets Bell, Rogers, and Telus rarely advertise, including billing tricks, contract loopholes, and policies buried in the fine print. Some of these can quietly add hundreds of dollars a year to your bill. And the last one is the most controversial, because it affects every single Canadian with a mobile phone. Let's do a quick comparison. In France, you can get 200 gigabytes of mobile data for about $25 a month. In Canada, that same amount of data could easily cost you $90 or more. And that's not a typo. For years, international telecom reports from organizations like the OECD and Real Research have ranked Canada among the most expensive countries on Earth for mobile data. But here's the weird part. Canada isn't a poor country. We have modern infrastructure, we have advanced technology. So why exactly are Canadians paying so much more than almost everyone else? Is it geography? Is it regulation? Or is something else going on behind the scenes? Because when you start digging into Canada's telecom industry, you find a system that looks less like a competitive market and more like a very comfortable club. Today we're breaking down how the Canadian telecom system actually works, the billing tricks that quietly increase your monthly cost, and the policies that keep prices high. And once you see how it all fits together, your phone bill will make a lot more sense. Let's start with something unique about Canada. In many countries, there are dozens of mobile providers competing for customers. In Canada, 3 companies dominate the entire market: Bell, Rogers, Telus. Together, they control roughly 90% of the wireless market, according to industry reports and CRTC data. Interestingly, Saskatchewan is the only province where none of the big 3 dominate. SaskTel holds over 50% market share there. And even the smaller brands you see advertised often belong to them. For example, Fido belongs to Rogers, Koodo belongs to Telus, Virgin Plus belongs to Bell. So what looks like competition on the surface often traces back to the same 3 parent companies. That concentration alone changes how pricing behaves, because when there are only a few major players, companies don't necessarily have to undercut each other aggressively. They just have to stay roughly in the same range, which is exactly what we see in Canadian phone plans. Now, let's look at the geography. Whenever Canadians complain about phone prices, there's a common explanation. Canada is huge. And yes, it's true that Canada has one of the largest land areas in the world. But here's where the argument gets interesting. Most Canadians don't live across that entire landmass. Nearly 90% of the population lives within about 160 kilometers of the US border. That means telecom infrastructure is actually concentrated in a fairly narrow band across the country. And other large countries with difficult geography, like Australia, often still manage to offer cheaper mobile plans. So geography plays a role, but it's probably not the whole story. Now let's talk about something millions of Canadians have experienced. Your phone bill starts at one price, then 6 months later, it's slightly higher. Then a year later, it's higher again. But nothing obvious changed. Even though the wireless code is supposed to protect consumers from surprise billing changes, this happens because telecom companies can increase prices with advance notice, typically communicated through email or billing messages. Many customers simply miss those notifications. And because the increases are often small, maybe $3 or $5 at a time, they accumulate slowly. It's the classic boiling frog situation. Individually, the increases feel minor, but over a few years, they can raise your monthly cost dramatically. Another strange pattern in telecom pricing is how companies treat new customers versus existing ones. Promotions are everywhere. limited time offer, switch today and save, exclusive deal. But almost all of these deals apply to new customers only. If you've been with the same provider for 5 or 10 years, you might actually be paying significantly more than someone who just signed up yesterday. It sounds backwards, but telecom companies rely heavily on something economists call customer inertia. Most people dislike switching providers, so they simply stay where they are, even when better deals exist. Another big contributor to high phone bills is how devices are financed. Modern smartphones can easily cost $1,200 to $2,000. Instead of paying upfront, most Canadians roll that cost into their monthly bill. So your $90 phone plan might actually include the service, the device payment, insurance, extra features. The problem is that many people forget which part of the bill pays for what. Once the phone is fully paid off, the monthly price doesn't always automatically drop. And that's when people realize they've been paying for a device that's already theirs. Unlimited data plans sound amazing, until you read the fine print. Most Canadian unlimited plans include something called speed throttling or data throttling after a data threshold. You might get 75 gigabytes at full speed. After that, speeds can drop dramatically. Technically, you still have unlimited data, but the experience can feel very different. Streaming slows down, video calls struggle, and suddenly that unlimited plan doesn't feel quite so unlimited anymore. One factor that rarely gets discussed in everyday conversations is wireless spectrum. Spectrum is essentially the invisible radio frequencies that mobile networks operate on. Innovation, Science, and Economic Development Canada auctions these frequencies to telecom companies, and those auctions can be incredibly expensive. In 2021, the 3,500 MHz spectrum auction alone raised $8.09 billion for the Canadian government. Naturally, those costs eventually get passed down to customers. So when you pay your phone bill, part of that money is indirectly covering those spectrum purchases. Unlike in Europe, where MVNOs, mobile virtual network operators, create competition by renting network access and offering lower prices, Canada's market remains tightly controlled. The recent acquisition of Fido Mobile by Quebecor created hope for a potential fourth national carrier, but true nationwide competition remains limited. When you combine everything together, the picture becomes clearer. A concentrated market, high infrastructure costs, expensive spectrum auctions, customer inertia. All of these factors interact to keep Canadian telecom prices relatively high compared to many other countries. And unless competition dramatically increases, that situation may not change quickly. So the next time you open your phone bill and wonder why it's so expensive, now you know. It isn't just one thing, it's an entire system. But the good news is that consumers still have leverage. Comparing plans, switching providers, and renegotiating contracts can make a surprisingly big difference. If you have serious billing disputes, you can file a complaint with the CCTS, the Commission for Complaints for Telecom Television Services. Because the one thing telecom companies fear most is customers who actually pay attention to their bills.